Imagine waking up every day with a calm mind, free from distractions and thoughts that pull you down. What if I told you that some of the heaviest burdens in your life aren't external but internal? In today's video, we'll explore lessons you must silently let go of to achieve true inner peace. By the end, get ready to discover how small shifts can change the way you see the world, based on the powerful teachings of Stoicism. Let's begin. Lesson 1. The fear of others' opinions. Have you ever wondered how many of your life decisions were shaped by fear of what others might think? This fear creeps in silently, stopping you from being your true self. It's like living on a stage, performing for an audience that isn't even watching. Here's the truth. Most people are too busy dealing with their own fears to judge you, yet you paralyze yourself. Fear of judgment is like a parasite, feeding on your dreams and whispering doubts whenever you consider doing something different. What will they think, you ask yourself? Suddenly your plans change. You end up molding your life to others' expectations, leaving your deepest desires behind. How ironic, we spend so much time worrying about opinions that we lose the chance to live the life we truly want. This fear leads us to please people who often aren't even part of our lives. It's as if our inner compass is broken. Instead of following our intuition, we follow society's south. You wear masks, at work, with friends, on social media, but where is the real you? The one buried under fake smiles and borrowed opinions? Fear of judgment often disguises itself as wisdom. This isn't the right time. Maybe I'm not good enough. Excuses masquerading as prudence hide the same monster, fear of others' thoughts. Meanwhile, your dreams gather dust, waiting for a moment that'll never come. To overcome this, turn to Stoicism. The Stoics teach that we can't control others' thoughts, only our reactions. It sounds simple, but requires constant practice, reflection, and courage. It's about living for yourself, making choices that bring you joy, not just pleasing others. Start by silently dropping what adds no value, choices made to maintain an image or satisfy outsiders. Maybe you chose a career that doesn't fulfill you because it seemed right. Free yourself. Begin small. Decline obligations you don't want, or do something you've always feared judgment for. Every small act is a step toward freedom. I won't lie. Some days the weight of judgment feels crushing. But remember, each time you conform to others' expectations, you lose a piece of yourself. It's a slow, silent death. Avoid it by having the courage to be true to your core. So start shedding these things quietly. No announcements needed. Just leave behind what doesn't belong. Trust your own judgment. Value your self-worth more than others' opinions. In the end, the only person you owe satisfaction to is you. As Carl Jung said, freedom begins the moment you stop caring what others think of you. True freedom is within reach. Start today. Lesson 2. Toxic relationships. Some relationships don't nourish the soul, they drain it. Yet we cling to them out of fear or guilt. It's time to change. We've all heard the phrase, "There's none so blind as those who refuse to see." But ironically, we apply this selectively, ignoring what's right in front of us. Let's talk about relationships that, without you realizing, consume your energy. Ones that take more than they give. And the oddest part? We hold on to them as if they're indispensable. I'm not just talking about romance. Toxic relationships exist everywhere: family, friends, work. No one forces you to keep them. yet you tolerate them silently as if letting go is an insult to the world. Why? Maybe because we've learned that cutting ties is a sign of weakness or insensitivity, as if removing someone from your life is cruel. But the opposite is true. Letting go of toxicity is the greatest act of self-love. The Stoics teach us to focus only on what we can control, and people aren't on that list. You can't change how others act, but you can choose whether they influence your life. Here's the hard part. Do it silently, not with revenge or superiority, just a conscious decision to stop feeding a draining relationship. Sometimes self-love isn't a loud no. It's a quiet "I've had enough." No drama, no unnecessary explanations. Imagine it like removing a dead plant from your garden. You don't announce it. You just stop watering it. You let it go, knowing it no longer belongs. Ever spent time with someone and felt exhausted afterward? It doesn't mean they're bad, just that their energy doesn't match yours. The key? Identify these relationships. Listen to your body and mind. If every interaction leaves you drained, you're in a toxic dynamic. Here's the strategy. Silent detachment. Gradually reduce contact. No grand gestures or fights, just stop reaching out. Distance doesn't need fanfare. It's freeing. Not because you're turning your back on the world, but because you're prioritizing your well-being. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is simply choosing not to be available. How to spot these relationships? Notice, do you feel a knot in your stomach when they message you? Does meeting them leave you more exhausted than a work week? Do you always give while they never take? If you answered yes, you already know. Once this is clear, begin the removal. No drama, no explanations. Just move. It's not about cruelty or grudges. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop their drain on energy you could use for people and activities that truly nourish you. In the end, the key is honesty. Put your well-being above guilt or fear of hurting others. Some people are like the wind. You feel them pass, but you can't hold on. Let them go. Lesson 3: self-sabotaging habits. Sometimes we do small things that, upon closer look, lead us nowhere. These are habits that seem harmless at first, but silently undermine our mental and physical peace. I've fallen into this trap more times than I'd like to admit. Self-sabotaging habits are like slow, dripping water that erodes even stone over time. But what if these habits are the hidden hinges of our daily lives? How do we eliminate them without fanfare? The answer lies in a simple but powerful principle: awareness. Step 1. Recognize the habits. This isn't easy. We're often blind to our own flaws. Identifying destructive behavior in ourselves is harder than spotting it in others. Take a common example. You wake up and mindlessly grab your phone. Not for anything important, just out of habit. It seems harmless, right? But if you pause, you might realize you've wasted 20 minutes of your morning drowning in triviality. Your brain starts the day already saturated before you even get out of bed. This is just one example. We do this with countless things. That extra coffee you didn't need. That conversation you shouldn't have entertained. Those TV shows you watch without even thinking about what they add to your life. These small daily actions create gaps in our well-being without us noticing. How to eliminate them? Don't promise radical change. Let's be honest. How many times have you said, "Starting tomorrow, I'll change everything," only to repeat the cycle? Here's the Stoic lesson. Great transformations don't happen overnight. They happen through tiny, almost imperceptible steps. You don't need grand gestures or announcements. Change starts internally with something as simple as noticing. For example, when you catch your hand reaching for your phone unnecessarily, stop. No need to throw it out the window, though tempting. Just set it aside. Do something else. Take a deep breath, stretch. When you crave a third coffee, ask, do I really need this, or is it just habit? If it's the latter, put the cup down. This is how change happens, not through grand declarations, but through grounded action. The right approach. Silent consistency, no drama, no billboards. Like drops of water that polish stone over time. If you feel you're not making progress, remember, small efforts compound. You might not see results immediately, but it's like planting a seed. One day without noise, it grows into a tree. So next time you spot a habit hurting more than helping, shed it silently. No announcements needed. Just let it go, step by step, drop by drop. As Epictetus said, real transformation doesn't make noise. It simply happens. Lesson 4. The need to control everything. Ever felt that if you don't have absolute control over everything around you, the world will collapse? I get it. We love to believe that if we micromanage every detail and prevent all surprises, life will run like a perfectly tuned machine. What a ridiculous idea. Yet we trap ourselves in this mental game, convinced we can control what happens to us. It's a sneaky trap. And the harder we cling to control, the more unbalanced we feel. So I ask, what if you let go of this obsessive need? The truth, the desire to control everything is a mental prison, brick by brick, built every time we assume things will go exactly as planned. But the universe doesn't work that way. Stoicism teaches us the key isn't controlling the uncontrollable, it's releasing what's unnecessary and focusing on what truly depends on us. Think about it. We try to control the weather, others' opinions, people's reactions, outcomes of our efforts. None of these are in our hands. It's like trying to stop the tide with your hands, a total waste of energy. And yet we keep doing it. The worst part, every time things don't go as expected, we feel frustrated, as if the cosmos wronged us. How laughable. The weight of control. Imagine carrying a backpack. Every time you try to control something beyond your reach, you add a stone to it. At first, the weight seems negligible, but over time, the backpack becomes unbearable. Eventually, it crushes you. Wouldn't it be better to drop those stones, to make space for what actually matters? My story. I used to obsess over predicting every possible mishap. Before meetings, I'd plan for every uncomfortable question. Before outings with friends, I'd stress about locations, weather, anything that might deviate from the plan. It was exhausting. And guess what? Most of what I worried about never happened. I learned to trust the process. And what happened? Some things went well, others didn't. But I felt lighter because I stopped carrying what wasn't mine to hold. Trusting life doesn't mean being passive or irresponsible. It means maturely accepting that some things are beyond us, and that's okay. The practice. Silently shed this need for control. Make room for the unexpected, the surprises, the unattainable. This isn't about sitting back and watching life pass. It's about releasing the weight and accepting that much of the path doesn't depend on you. And you know what? That's liberation. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, true control lies in the ability to let go of what you can't control. Lesson 5. Unrealistic expectations. I spent much of my life believing I needed to be perfect. No one outright said it, but it hovered in the air in well-meaning comments, approving glances, and silent comparisons to others. I grew up convinced that meeting others' expectations, and worse, my own, equaled success. What a colossal lie. Trying to meet unrealistic expectations is like filling a bottomless well with a leaky bucket. You never finish, you're always exhausted, and in the end, all that's left is a puddle of frustration at your feet. Here's the kicker. Many of these expectations aren't even ours. They're built by family, friends, society, and we accept them because in our quest to be better, we assume we must achieve them. Quick exercise. Think. How often have you felt disappointed for failing at something you didn't even truly want? We set goals so high that failing makes us feel worthless. If I'm not the best at my job, the perfect partner, the ideal friend or child, what's left of me? These expectations ultimately weigh more than our actions. It's like running a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. You move slower, tire faster, and even if you finish, you're dragging your feet. The Stoic shift. The Stoics teach, you can't control others' opinions or guarantee the universe will cooperate. What you can control is your response. The key? Lighten the load. Reduce the expectations choking you. Expecting less doesn't mean settling, it means freeing yourself from the pressure to achieve the impossible. How to start? The closet method. Treat expectations like a closet full of old clothes. First, identify what no longer serves you or never did. Remove one piece at a time. Hesitant to toss that shirt you might wear someday? Deep down, you know you won't. It's the same with expectations. Reframe your language. Instead of, I need to do everything perfectly, try, I'll do my best with what I have now. This makes room for error and growth without the crushing weight of perfection. Stop announcing plans. The quieter your goals, the fewer external expectations pile on. In the end, others' expectations are just that, theirs. Silently shed what doesn't serve you. Watch how life flows more naturally. Letting go of expectations isn't surrender, it's wisdom. Focus on what you truly want, not what's supposed to matter. Fewer expectations equals more freedom. Start today. Lesson 6. The need to always be right. This constant need to be right is a silent but relentless burden. It's as if every conversation becomes a battlefield where victory means proving your correctness. The most exhausting part. This war isn't against others, it's against yourself. Each time you insist on having the final word, you convince yourself that your worth depends on it. Frankly, I'm tired of this endless race. We've been taught that we must always have the right answer, as if making mistakes shows weakness. But here's a secret. Sometimes being right is the least important thing in life. The Stoics teach us to accept what we can't control, including how others see us. This relentless pursuit to prove you know everything leads nowhere. It just makes you more anxious, frustrated, and ultimately more isolated. Ask yourself, what do you gain from always being right? An invisible medal? It's not worth the effort. Imagine that with every argument you win, you add a stone to an invisible backpack. Eventually, the weight becomes unbearable and you wonder why you're so exhausted. Try this. Next time you feel compelled to prove yourself, practice silence. Not as surrender, but as liberation. It's like releasing a pen you've been clutching for hours. The relief is immediate. True freedom comes from letting go of this need. How to shed this weight? Accept you don't need to know everything. Embrace that mistakes are okay. Not every discussion needs your opinion. Practice listening to understand, not to rebut. Value silence as much as speech. Remember, winning an argument isn't the same as gaining peace. Is being right really worth your tranquility? As Seneca observed, true wisdom isn't in winning every battle, but in knowing which aren't worth fighting. Lesson 7. Digital noise. Have you noticed how surrounded we are by digital noise? I'm not talking about street sounds, but the constant pings in your pocket, the endless scroll in your hands. We think we're in control when in reality this digital chaos controls us. We live in an era where silence has become a luxury, but reclaiming it starts with understanding what's stealing your attention. Digital clutter won't disappear just by closing an app. That's like trying to put out a fire with a cup of water. You need to be radical, like the Stoics who understood that inner peace requires rejecting external distractions. What to eliminate silently? Social media. Unfollow accounts that add no value. Do you really need updates from your cousin's friend's neighbor? Notifications. Each buzz hijacks your focus. Disable all non-essential alerts. FOMO, fear of missing out. The uncomfortable truth? What truly matters isn't on screens but in the world around you. Digital minimalism isn't about rejection. It's about making space for what counts. When you remove unnecessary noise, something magical happens. You start hearing yourself again. As Gandhi put it, peace comes not from absent noise, but from choosing what to hear. Lesson 8. Negative thought patterns. These thoughts enter your mind like uninvited guests, suddenly acting like they own the place. The frustrating part? You often hand them the keys. We tolerate them because we believe they're inevitable, part of our daily landscape. But what if you changed the locks? Negative thoughts are destructive patterns that shape your actions, and not for the better. Repeat, why does everything go wrong for me? Enough, and your brain starts believing it's true. It's like planting a poison tree, then wondering why the fruit makes you sick. The Stoic solution: spot the thought. I'm noticing I'm having this negative thought. Question it. Is this absolutely true? Detach. This thought isn't me, just a passing cloud. Freedom begins when you realize you're not hostage to your thoughts. As Brian Tracy said, thoughts aren't facts, but if you believe them, they become your reality. Drop these mental burdens quietly without fanfare. True clarity comes when you master your inner dialogue. Lesson 9. Physical and mental clutter. Ever noticed how waking up to a messy space makes your mind feel heavier? Physical and mental clutter are more connected than we admit. That pile of unsorted papers, it mirrors the unresolved worries in your mind. Clutter isn't just visual, it's energetic. Every unfinished task, every object out of place consumes mental bandwidth. Your environment should support you, not drain you. The silent cleanse. The 1-minute rule. If it takes less than a minute, hanging a coat, filing a paper, do it now. The 6-month test. Haven't used it in 6 months? Let it go. Mental declutter. Write down nagging thoughts. Seeing them on paper reduces their power. The Stoics knew. Living lightly means focusing only on essentials. As you clear physical space, mental clarity follows. Nelson Mandela understood. When the noise stops, what remains becomes clear. Lesson 10. Unnecessary comparisons. Comparing yourself to others is like running a race where no one knows they're competing and wouldn't care if they did. Yet there you are, measuring every step against invisible opponents. Here's the truth. Life isn't a sprint, it's sailing your own boat. When you obsess over other vessels, you end up steering off course. Ironically, while you're watching them, they're probably watching someone else too. How to stop? The Stoic question. Compared to who I was yesterday, am I growing? Gratitude practice. List 3 things you have that money can't buy. Energy audit. Ask, does this comparison serve me? The only meaningful comparison is with your past self. When you focus there, you'll discover something liberating. You were never meant to live anyone else's life. Your journey is yours alone, and that's your power.